Hi, everyone, and welcome to UBS Trending Special Report, the era of AI. While tech headlines paint a picture of workplace extinction, there's another story emerging in offices across America. From law firms to marketing agencies, is AI replacing humans, or is it rewriting job descriptions? And with a shrinking global workforce, could AI's productivity boost be exactly what we need? We're going to hear about that right now from Poorya Ferdowsi from Bristol Gate Partners, Chief Data Scientist there. Poorya, nice to have you in the studio.
Likewise, yeah, hi, thank you.
Yeah. The AI conversation grows and it grows, and we talk all about the investment opportunities, which we're going to get into a little bit today. We talk about how much it's changing the landscape, but a lot of people out there are fearful, as anytime there's a revolution in industry, that it's going to take jobs away from people. And I think with as we were saying, it's making headlines every day. So how do you see AI impacting the jobs market broadly, just kind of from a very 30,000-foot view?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you on the question. So the way that I look at it is that we have a workforce population that's aging for quite a long time right now, I would say. And one of the best examples of this type of countries is Japan. Mm-hmm. And so now we need to close the gap between what is available in the job market and what is needed. And AI is here to help us to close the gap on that front. Now, you may ask that, okay, if it's here to close the gap, it's going to wipe out part of the job market. Of course, it's a technology, and technology job is essentially to make human more efficient. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're doing some kind of the job that is easily replaceable, let's say, for example, you are someone who just draw tables by hand, of course, the technology is going to change that. Another way that I look at it is back in, let's say, mid-90s, we had abacus, and people used to do the calculation with that. But with the invention of computers, now we have way more speed. It doesn't mean that you cannot design a structure using abacus. Of course, you still can do the math based on that. But if you have machine and computers, you can do it way more efficient and way more effectively. So although part of the job market is going to be wiped out, it's going to create more opportunities somewhere else. And if we get ourselves out of our own comfort zone and essentially educate ourselves to get to the next tier, by all means, there is lots of space to be filled.
Right.
And companies are aware of that too. For example, Microsoft back in May, if I'm not making a mistake, May 2024 this year, they announced that they're going to invest $3.3 billion in Wisconsin as an initiative they call it skilling initiative, to educate about 100,000 employees to be up to speed and using AI and the new technology, essentially.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and I actually have a stat from the World Economic Forum that might comfort some people. It says while AI will displace around 85 million jobs by the end of next year, they're also projected to create 97 million jobs. And I think it's exactly what you're saying, is that companies are starting to train existing workers, or they're training new workers to work within the landscape of what artificial intelligence is going to need in a multi-industry kind of universe. So when we're actually looking at AI from that sort of viewpoint of boosting productivity without eliminating jobs, that seems to be where we're headed.
Exactly. So it is not necessarily getting rid of jobs, and as you explained, it's going to create more opportunities. And Microsoft is one of the examples actually through here. Google is doing his own part here, basically contributing to this field as well. And they're not focusing necessarily on North America; they are trying to do it globally. Mm-hmm. I know Google, for example, did some investment in Sub-Saharan Africa, for example, or Middle East. They're trying to expand the field and their education lens, I would say. They make it wider. And with the help of other apps and technologies, they're going to help me and you, essentially, as the end user, to get more productive, to get things done faster. And in order to do that, now we have more capacity to think and be creative on other fronts. And as soon as we become creative, of course, you need more workforces to help you to nurture the idea or even build something on top of what you come up with.
Right. And look, I know you're not sitting here and I'm not either saying it's easy for everyone to just get up to speed, because there are people who their whole lives have either been, data entry and processing, customer service, even accounting and bookkeeping, where if you look at some of the statistics, those are the jobs that would likely be replaced by AI. But again, many opportunities exist if those people are willing to get trained and look into other job opportunities within the landscape. But of course, sitting here at UBS, and you're also, Bristol Gate is a financial firm, the question always comes up, well, what impact might that have on the financial industry? We like to say AI will allow us to become more efficient and, of course, allow our financial advisors to have more intimate relationships with their clients and future clients instead of doing data entry and administrative work. So what are you seeing when it comes to the financial industry and AI?
Yeah, so I look at this, the human as those kind of entities or creatures that love recommendations. Right. So recommender system is something that we embrace easily and openly. So like Netflix, you at the very beginning when you create an account there, you put some sort of information, and based on that, they can come up with a very cold recommendation for you to watch. Now, get that and translate it into the field of finance or wealth management. If we have portfolio recommenders, which I can easily see that with the help of technology we get there, or a recommendation for the advisors to match an advisor with a customer, you can the end user, or basically the investor, the end investor here, there is going to be a much nicer customer experience or investor relationship and experience for the end user here. So the technology is here to help us, to support us. I always want to get back and tie it back to the first question that you asked. It's not about wiping out necessarily job market. AI is not here to compete with me or to compete with you. It's like an assistant to us. If I can collaborate, essentially, the word the two-letter co is very important here. If we can just use human intelligence along with artificial intelligence, or what I call it HI plus AI, we can beat either of them. So human without artificial intelligence, of course, are going to be behind this train, and those who are on this train with the help of artificial intelligence, they conquer the path forward.
Right. As we were talking before, Microsoft calls their AI co-pilot.
Exactly.
They don't call it pilot or captain. It still needs a human being to have those touches to understand the human experience and relationships, and using co-pilot as, like you said, essentially a virtual assistant, which for me, I love the idea of having some machinery to do some of the things that take me away from developing relationships with my colleagues or clients or friends, however, whatever business you're in or what you're thinking about. I love that as far as AI. It scares me less than it did in the beginning, knowing what it can be instead of what people thought it was going to be.
And interesting that you brought up Copilot. I was doing some research recently, and Microsoft, if I'm not making a mistake, it's about a week ago, dated November 12th, that report. They're saying that roughly 85% of the Fortune 500 companies are using Copilot, which is quite interesting on its own. And then I came across the quarterly report by you guys, UBS essentially, and realized that they're rolling out roughly about 50,000, not 500, 50,000 licenses of Copilot. And then I was going through the list, I realized that, BlackRock is doing something similar. It's instead of 50,000, they are doing 24,000. But it tells me that the industry is starting embracing the technology, and Copilot is here to just help us to create content better, more efficient, and as I alluded at the beginning of this discussion that we had, have a better customer experience for the end user.
Exactly. I mean, it's sort of like when I remember starting in the industry a million years ago, because I've been in the industry for a long time. Microsoft Office wasn't on everyone's computer. Some people were using older versions of different kinds of email software, and eventually everybody got rolled out and started using Microsoft Office or some version of that. And it feels very similar, where they're slowly starting to utilize or give it to certain people to try it out, see how it works, see how it goes. So it's just evolution as we see it. So let me ask you this, Poorya, as we're wrapping up here. Just and the overall investment opportunity as you see it within AI? I mean, I know, again, it's multi-industry. We talk about energy, we talk about utilities and infrastructure. Where do you see opportunities given the conversation, especially when it comes to just the broad AI topic?
Yeah, I think we already passed the, I would call it, tipping point in AI by the invention of LLM models. So previously we were talking about forecasting, we were talking about some sort of recommender system, but it wasn't necessarily type of system that human can interact. With the invention of these LLM models, now human can interact, and because of that, we passed the tipping point in my mind. But the same report is quite interesting. I've never seen such a number before. It's claiming that through the survey that IDC did before, they come to the conclusion that for every dollar of investment, the return, the ROI of that is about 370%.
Wow.
So $1 goes in, $3.70 essentially is the outcome of that. So, and this is just on LLM front. It's something that human can interact, it's tangible for human. Just consider that applied into the field of, I would say, entertainment industry. With the help of different apps, let's say something like Notebook LM, which is quite getting famous these days, you can create a podcast out of a blog post. So you are, let's say you're a financial advisor, or you're someone who wrote an article, you want to share it with others. Instead of sharing these transcripts, you can convert it to a dialogue, basically, between two people, and share it and let others just enjoy it and the reading of it.
It's incredible, the technology that's involved in this. It's just, sometimes it blows my mind what it can do. And I'm sure we're only scratching the surface from the technological side of it, where it's going to just grow and grow over time. Poorya, thanks very much. Really good to have you here. Good to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
again, Poorya Ferdowsi from Bristol Gate Partners. And thank you all for joining us. For lots more information on the AI topic, visit our website, ubs.com/AI-hub. Plus, you can follow UBS on social media. We're on all the major channels, including Instagram. Follow us at UBS Trending. And if you have any questions about what Poorya and I spoke about today, make sure you are having a conversation with your financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. Have a great day, everybody.